We are now beginning the third quarter of this class, which focuses on dreams and dreaming. This lecture will cover dreams as a noun, the next, dreaming as a verb, the process of dreaming, and the third, theories of dreaming. Here's an important note before we go on. One of your chapter reading assignments for this part of the class is titled, Why the Study of Dream Content is Not a Science. This is somewhat of an inaccuracy. It will become clear to you when you read this chapter that what the author really means is why the study of dream interpretation is not a science. And there's a big difference between dream interpretation and scientific studies of dream content and form, as we will elaborate on in this lecture. So make a note of this, perhaps even literally with a sticky note. Relabel that chapter, Why the Study of Dream Interpretation is Not a Science. When humans do not understand something, we have a tendency to explain it with superstition or religion. There is a comfort in attributing it to superstition because then we believe we can deflect bad things, for instance, by avoiding walking under a ladder or in the path of a black cat. A similar comfort comes from religion in believing that praying to a divine power can avoid droughts, famine, and other misfortunes. So attributing things that we do not understand to magical thinking can give us a sense of power and control. One example is mental illness. Before the discovery of the medical model of mental illness was attributed to superstitious beliefs like possession by evil forces, or religious ones like possession by Satan or demons. This mode of thinking prompted some pretty poor treatment of those with mental illness. It also set the stage for quackery, those who claimed to cast out demons. Dreams were also impossible to understand before the brain scan technology we have today. Thus, magical thinking prevailed. Kings and queens hired dream interpreters who were believed to use psychic powers to interpret dreams in ways that increased the dreamer's chances of success, avoiding misfortunes, and/or receiving messages from their ancestors. Churches saved this role for their highest leaders who were believed to receive frequent dreams that would guide them and their followers to a special status. Even Freud saved this role of interpreter for the Freudian psychologists who supposedly had access to others' innermost desires and secrets, conscious and otherwise. There were two theorists whose lives and work at least partially overlapped with Freud's time, who were actually far more accurate in their theories of dreams. However, without the technology to support, prove, or advance their theories, they were largely dismissed and ignored by Freud and others. One was Wilhelm Wundt. Now, Wundt is spelled W-U-N-D-T, who you might have heard about in Psychology 101 for beginning the field of psychology as an academic discipline and founding the first psych laboratory in Germany. Quite the forward thinker of his time, Wundt theorized quite accurately that dreams are accounted for by selective activity of the brain. He proposed that visual activity was left on, but that reasoning and memory were selectively turned off. Another was Hermann von Helmholtz, a German physician and physicist, known at the time for his ideas regarding the relation of perception and laws of nature. He proposed that motor control is highly predictive, that the brain can predict and thus simulate acts of movement in a highly convincing way, creating perceptions that feel real. Those of you who have learned about mirror neurons can appreciate how his theory has been advanced in really important ways today. Thus, Van Helmholtz felt that activity in dreams could simply be accounted for by this closed loop activation of the brain simulating movement. At the time, though, these and Freud's were just competing theories for which no evidence existed. Thus, the sexiest, Freud's, got all the press. And these two guys, unfortunately, got lost in the excitement. The truth is that our knowledge of dreams today could have been quite enhanced if more attention had been paid to these two brilliant thinkers.